Man, welcome back to another unpopular opinion broadcast, the place where I get my candid thoughts on current event topics. And I'm gonna just be honest with y'all, man. I'm not really trying to uh go in depthly with this one, primarily due to the sensitive nature of it, but because it's all playing out in the public spectrum, I can't help but give my candid thoughts and commentary on what's going on. That being issues that's taking place in the Christian world right now, specifically Christian media with Daystar Television Network. And let me first start off by saying this: I, in no way, shape, form, or fashion, um, I'm not against Christian media whatsoever. I think we need it. I think it's a very powerful tool. I myself have hosted a Christian TV show. So I am very well aware of how that works. By the grace of God, have even had um, dealings on a very minuscule role with this particular network through um, some mutual people that we know. But nevertheless, it is so unfortunate, man, what's going on. And I don't even really want to give too much information on it because of the fact that outside of it just being out there in the public, it's sad. I don't want for this to happen, but at this point, based off of the way everything is going, allegations of molestation of a child, um, a 5-year-old child at that, a 5-year-old at the time, people who feel that you know that's a lie, um, allegations of misuse of ministry money and stuff. It's just too much stuff playing out in the public spectrum. And you would think the leaks of this would be people who are not in it. They may be the outlookers, the producer that got fired or something. Like, nah, this is coming from the top people. And I entitled this broadcast on purpose, keeping up with the lambs needs to wrap up because throughout this whole process, even though it's sad and unfortunate, I feel like I'm watching reality TV, man. The way things are dropping, um, you know, it is crazy. The big names that's involved, the big pastors and all this other stuff. This is like something that any type of reality TV show network couldn't write up any better. Like it's just too much. Okay, I didn't. I was never a fan of Greenleaf. When Oprah did that, I made it through one season. Um, and I was watching it with a friend at the time, and I went ahead and said, "Hey, man, I'm good on this," because it was just too much drama. Now, people could say drama happens in the church and the Christian world all the time, sure, but you got to understand there are millions of people that are a part of this thing now. And so this is why I'm at with it, man. This is just my candid thoughts with everything that's going on. It's unfortunate. You don't have to pick a side. I'm not gonna pick sides on this broadcast per se because I wasn't in the beach home. I don't know what happened, what didn't happen. There are things that I can look at and say, okay, I could somewhat understand the thought process there, but overall, this is a family matter, one that should have really been dealt with in private, but by force, it appears that the church world is being dragged into this. People who got well off ministries and names and stuff like that. I don't know if it's just off of the strength of them having programs on the show or having some type of relationship to where their secrecy isn't being valued per se. But either way, what this organization and this family got to understand, specifically, the daughter, man, the daughter who's very hurt right now, going back and forth with people on Twitter, you know, people seeing this stuff in real time. And I know you may be thinking you don't give a, and I just gotta be honest, just based off of some of the stuff I've been hearing in these recordings, people cussing and stuff like that. I already understand the nature of what we dealing with, and I hate to say it like that, but it's almost as if people will try to portray this, you know, clean, spotless, quote unquote, um, even self-righteous at times persona, but behind the scenes, behind the scenes is a little bit different of a story. And I'm just, I'm listening to some of these audios and how comfortable people are using profanity. And again, they didn't know if things were being recorded. So that's neither here nor there. And ultimately, God is your judge. By the same token, I'm just looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, like, there does not appear within the public spectrum now to be a sense of, what's the word I'm looking for? Concern about your partners, concerned about people that love and support you, concerned about how people even in the world would look at this. Because this is just too much drama. This is just too much drama. And, these tweets and all this other stuff is being viewed by thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. And they're just using this as fuel to basically say, okay, this is why I don't really rock with this and this and that. I'm not one of the ones that wants to see Daystar crumble. I love Daystar. I support Daystar. I even thought about supporting financially to a degree, um, given this whole ordeal, because I understand that it's the agenda of the enemy to want to even silence the voice of Christian outlets like that. And my thing is this: as long as I'm in America, especially, I'm for freedom of speech. I'm for freedom of religion. And we got enough crazy stuff on TV and social media that has us distracted. You might as well have the positive aspect in there, right? The positive networks and things of that nature. But above all else, when families are having public spats like this, and things are resulted to being on the level of a reality TV show, as opposed to it being, you know, centered on Christ and the ministry, it takes away from all of that positivity and all that good. And now people, every time they look at you and they be thinking about all that stuff you talking about, this all they can't get out their mind, what's taking place, the leaking of medical records, of children medical records, is that in the public spectrum. I'm talking about we know too much stuff that we don't want to know. And I understand some people won't gossip and all that other stuff, but the majority of people that love and support this network has already heard enough of the situation to understand that whatever y'all gonna do, it needs to be handled in the court of law. The court of public opinion is not a place where this battle should be trying to be won. Now, I know folk may say, oh, I'm going to just handle it any kind of way. But see, when you start responding out of emotion and out of hurt, your decisions aren't going to be the wisest to make. Throughout this whole process, I've heard several things that I felt like was concerning to me, but I didn't get the release for real to even speak on it because, you know, not only were there details left out, but I was just I'm so for this network. I'm so for the idea that the platform promotes, to the point to where I'm just like, man, I don't even want to really bring attention to this to my sphere of influence, because it's not right. What's going on ain't right, and people need to understand that, you know first of all, if allegations of molestation are are being stated, that shouldn't be taken lightly. I'm for the authorities getting involved. I don't think that something like that could even jeopardize a ministry per se if it's handled properly. But if you're making this up for what reason, I don't know, that's wrong too. So it's like you're putting all this information out here, not understanding how this is going to make other people look. I'm talking about, you got people who've been in ministry for 40 plus years, man, who have had to really seek God and get it out the mud. And because they just sat there and associated with you putting all their business out there. And I don't blame them one bit for not saying something, even though I think one particular minister who I what I'm saying, I support, what he got going on. He kind of clapped back a little bit on social media because he was getting personally attacked. And I'm just like, man, like this is just too much messiness going on, to the point to where we need to wrap it up. Okay. Even the Kardashians got season finales. Yo, it's time to have the season finale on this. Okay. We've already heard what we've needed to hear. Now, whatever else need to happen in the court of law. Because the way this is going, anytime, because see, that network, let me just tell you, that network has international influence. So you best believe people who are talking about this aren't just American people. You got people in different countries and all this other stuff. And I think overall, God can preserve the network like he has done to networks in times past to get through this scandal. I believe that. But by the same token, no one wins in a cat fight or a fight in public, because the way public opinion works, they always gonna side with the person who's the victim, or the small guys per se. But a man of wisdom, a man or woman of wisdom, can look at the information that's provided, and they can get the facts, and kind of come to conclude their own conclusions. But again, without picking sides or anything like that, I am going to encourage, as a believer, as someone who is a supporter of both people, both parts of the family or whatever. And this is my thing. I ain't nobody got to pick sides, because at the end of the day, this is something that should have all been dealt with behind the scenes anyway. And folks may say, well, they shouldn't have came public out with the story and causing all this division and confusion, you know. And my thing is this, you know, when you've grown up in a system where you may have felt controlled or hurt or whatever, you're going to respond in a way that combats that. Be I can't imagine myself at a place where I'm 40 years old and I feel like I don't, I can't move, or I can't operate in the freedom of myself, or in the best interest of my family, without things going quote unquote haywire. Like I can't relate to that. I can't imagine that. But by the same token, I understand given the nature of the religious system, specifically Christianity, how it can take place. I understand that. I understand the complexities of it. But by the same token, I don't think, and, and, you know, not picking sides, but I, without an and this is just my candid thoughts based off of what I've heard on the audios and stuff. I don't think there's really ill will on either side per se. Both sides think they're operating in sincerity, but there are some things that we just don't know, or that have been left unanswered. And if I'm being honest with you, I don't really want to know. I don't want to know. If folks say, well, you just turn it off. Well, hey, I've tried to turn it off, but anytime you sitting here, blowing up tweets and calling people out again, to get everything railed up, it's like, man, I can't catch a break. I shouldn't have to block you. Shouldn't have to unfollow you. Like it should come to that, but it's just too much going on in the public space right now. Y'all need to bring that stuff behind the scenes. And see, this thing, I don't know if it's for the lack of money, because folks want to pay legal fees or whatever. They don't want, the law to actually get involved and stuff to be disclosed in the court. I don't know if that's what it is or what, but right now, I feel like we're going around the carousel here, man. And they say, well, that's very rude to say, considering the allegations. Hey, I'm just stating facts and giving candid thoughts on this thing. At the end of the day, know, I thank God for the contribution that network has given to the world and the body of Christ at large. But I'm not I'm not employed by them. I'm not getting a check by them. That's not something that's really going to affect me per se, if it falls or not, outside of you know me genuinely wanting to see the ministry continue and go forward. But I think Joni is someone who's being misunderstood. I'm just being honest with you. I think she really loves her son. She loves her kids. You know, when when people feel like when people are hurt, they do a lot of crazy stuff. I'm just gonna be honest with you. When families get into it, it brings about certain things that really shouldn't uh be done. And out of protection and all this other stuff, certain decisions are made. But this is the thing, especially those emotional decisions, they will cost you. David almost killed a man out of pure emotion because he didn't like how that man was talking to him. And it wasn't until a woman of wisdom came along, who ironically at the time was that man's wife, and offered the food that David had requested, that killed all that. Moses was instructed to speak to the rock so water can come forth to feed, to you know, um, supply the children of Israel with water at the time. But instead of speaking to it, he struck it. What was the consequence? Couldn't enter into the promised land, all because of an emotional decision. There's too many emotional decisions taking place on social media right now, man. Too many receipts being dropped that we not asking to be dropped, man. It's bad when commentators who kind of got a messy spirit about them, who kind of always look down on the big, Christian networks and TV preachers, like they always got some negative. It's bad when they start quieting up. They talking about, man, I don't even want to be in it no more. And I ain't talking about Marcus Rogers, even though, yeah, I'll just leave it there. Cause Marcus, that whole situation there was just unbelievable. And unfortunately, that's not the first situation that I've known him to pull some stuff like that in. Um, referring to kind of a personal one there, but uh, as the other one, but that's neither here nor there. Without going into detail, you got people who messy, who've already speculated, and this is the thing. For what people gotta understand is this: all that religious stuff and legalism stuff needs to chill too, because who somebody married and all that, the God is gonna be the judge of that. Okay, and I've heard that emphasized a lot, right? So that's why it's like it's so many things going on, to the point to where I'm ultimately believing for I'm believing for reconciliation. I'm believing for God to get glory out of all of this. But right now, My biggest prayer to God is that y'all will go ahead and wrap this thing up in the public eye anyway, so we can continue to go forward in the great work and remain unified. Because see, if Daystar falls, let's just go ahead and be real about this. If Daystar falls, all that's gonna do, not saying that God wouldn't raise up another network of great stature or whatever, but that one in particular is one that connects a lot of preachers to, you know what I'm saying, promote the ministry and stuff like that. Specifically, preachers within the charismatic Pentecostal aspect of things. Like TBN used to be that back in the day, but they're not really. I don't know. Like it just doesn't appear that they are as friendly towards people who come from that camp of Christianity as much as they were in times past. Word Network is not really a network that people are talking about. People aren't really talking about these networks like that anymore, like they was coming up. Um, but that's neither here nor there. The biggest thing that people have to understand, though, is that no one in the body of Christ gains from this. I don't care what these YouTube people talking about. The YouTube people gonna continue to just say whatever they're gonna say and yap whatever they're gonna yap. But we already know something's off. Anytime you'll sit here and say in one breath what God has showed you about this and that, and how there's a dark cloud over the ministry, and then here you is, you go over there, and now you feeling differently. Y'all, I was wrong. So that just kind of shows me right there what you saying God said. It with the discernment meter is a little off there, right? So we always have to remember, and I'm not saying that that's a bad thing for him to sit here and say that he felt the spirit of God at Daystar. I felt the spirit of God when I was there. I can honestly say that. But and ironically, it was the worship team. But nevertheless, what people gotta understand is that you sitting here criticizing something that you don't know nothing about. You know, you talking about how corrupt these people are and all this other stuff, but if you've never had dealings with these people, you can't really say that. But based off of what we are seeing in the public spectrum now, based off of what we got on audio recording, like this is what I'm coming at. And I'm still not saying that these people are I think everybody in this situation has a heart for God. They got a heart for ministry. But the reality of it is that the founder of the ministry, the head honcho, the man who held the glue together for years, is now gone. And without him being at the head, there appears to be some chaos going on, all of which probably could have been avoided, could have been mediated. I think Joni and them tried in that last meeting that we heard, tried to mediate some of this stuff. That's why I have sympathy towards her as well, because I can't even imagine all this stuff going on. I mean, cause you gotta look at it. These people, they the Christian Kardashians right now. And I don't even watch the Kardashians, but back in the day, Kim, Chloe, the mom, all the people, they had all that. And I'm pretty sure that was an episode of Kim and Chloe and how they didn't like how their mama was dating younger dudes and all. You just I'm just being honest. We know a little too much, man. And it really should be about ministry, especially if that's what we paying y'all for. It ain't like, we sitting here trying to understand the ins and outs of Doug's sex therapy ministry or what. Like, bro, I don't. I'm good on that. I don't need to know nothing about the allegations of sexting. I don't need to know about none of that, because that's going to continue to take away from the great work that we got to do. That's gonna take it away now. Now I understand that some of that stuff you may feel like, well, if they didn't leak it, it wouldn't have came out. Da, da, da. But again, we can point fingers all day. But what we need to do is go to the courts and handle it that way. We can't continue to do this back and forth. And people may be scared to say something. And again, it ain't about being scared. Some people understand the reality of, man, this don't need no commentary. It's too much commentary. This is family matter that needs to be handled within the family. Again, I wouldn't be talking about this if it wasn't already in the public, if it wasn't public knowledge. You know, the situation that I referred to earlier in regards to Marcus Rogers and knowing how he kind of gets down, even outside of this situation, but in a situation that I was uh, connected with, that he was also involved with. I did not and still won't go into the details of that situation because it was somewhat done, even when, technically it was done in the eyes of the public, but it really happened in private. Like it's not worth blasting. You know what I'm saying? But this right here, it's just gonna keep going on. We almost a month or two in of just information being divulged, interviews being taken place, and I'm just trying to understand, what are we trying to do? Like, what are we trying to defund Daystar, which I don't think is gonna happen. I think that you got some partners over there that's going to continue to go with them and roll with them, especially when they're looking and seeing how muddy the waters are. The waters are muddy. You know, it's some muddy stuff going on. It's very, it's almost like this. People who hate Daystar are going to be empowered to continue to hate Daystar. Like they hate what that network does. So, but people who love Daystar, it ain't really changing them because they're able to see, well, most of them I would say would be able to kind of see what's going on. So what's gonna really turn them people off, the people that love Daystar, is when they continue to see the mess. Because the Bible says it very clear that each person needs to work out their own salvation with fear and trembling. That's what the words say now. That's what the words say. So if I'm sitting here concerned about my soul and trying to walk before God, the best way I know how, just like with anything worthwhile, or any successful person who's trying to, level up in business or whatever, you want to connect yourself to people who are going to help you with that goal, right? But it's still going to be my own personal walk at the end of the day. That being said, I got to be mindful of the company I keep, who I'm allowing to pour into my life, all of that, because I'm concerned about my soul. So if I know that you getting down like this, and all that other stuff you talking about ain't really echoing like this right here is, you know, why should I continue to support you? Why should I continue to rock with you if I understand that you're not valuing the position that you're in? Oh man, excuse me. I felt the anointing on that. You're not valuing the position that you're in. You know how many people out here wish they had what these folks got? How many Christian ministries out here wish they was at that level of a Daystar? And just to see it go to, just being pissed away, you know, in the courts of the public, off the strength of what? Like, and even that ain't fully clear. I guess it's just a lack of trust. Maybe we can say that, a lack of trust on both parts. Because while we can sit here and say what it is, and we need to go to court, y'all. Let's go to court. I know we don't want to. I know Christians look down on it, but I'd rather that than to continue to give the New York Times, the LA Times, the Washington Post. We don't need to give them no more ammunition to take down this ministry, because it's helping some people. It's helped a lot of people. People have received salvation, all that. So let's do that, because this right here, the back and forth, the Twitter finger, this ain't working. This is a little too secular. Now people may say, "Well, I'm human and I'm gonna respond how I want to respond." And people, okay, you do that, but don't be surprised when things start looking a little different around the organization. Because going back to that sincerity, that reverence, that working out your own salvation. People take that stuff serious. I myself take it serious. Not trying to judge nobody, but it's like, bro, why am I gonna see? Look, I'm gonna support my local church. I'm gonna support people who are there pouring in. I can continue to support, this right here if it's gonna be a reality Christian TV show. And we only really using the word Christian because you know because of the occupational aspects of this thing here. Because if I was to listen to that board, if I'm listening to the tapes, just even with Jimmy, all of I wouldn't just know out the gate. I'm talking to Christian people outside of just certain terms that's being used, right? Certain stories that's being allocated to. But man, and this thing, you know, we just letting cuss words fly. And I get it. People cuss, man. People cuss. So that's between y'all and God. But I'm just saying, y'all, this thing is serious. What we got going on is serious. You got people out here who operate in holiness, who believe in having clean mouths and all this other stuff, who don't have an ounce of the influence that these folks got. And instead of sitting here valuing that, man, it's all it's all just going to show. All going to show. And the only person who really laughing at all of this gotta be the devil. I mean, if I'm the devil, God forbid. But if I, the devil probably just laughing away like, like I legitimately got this. Because that's crazy. There were, I mean, yeah, you can talk about past stuff, but this right here, come on, man. Like, it's very unfortunate, very sad. And again, I'm praying for both parties, man. But please wrap it up. Please wrap up the season finale. And I know people may say, "Well, it's not did it." Look, you can say whatever you want to say. Twitter finger, all that stuff needs to stop, bro. Like the next statement that needs to be released has to be one where the courts are involved now. Things have been filed, because otherwise we just going around the carousel. And I find it funny how we got, for Jonathan anyway, in his situation, Daystar wanted to release a statement stating why he and Susie ain't on TV no more, which I understood, because they want to keep that solid front, right? So it's like, hey, we don't want you just texting something out there on behalf of the organization, because you're a part of the organization. When you speak, you're speaking on behalf of the organization. We don't want you just saying some random stuff. We want to all collectively put out a statement together, you know what I'm saying, and make sure that it's approved, so that way it protects the interest of Daystar. I'm like, cool, that makes perfect sense to me. I get, Jonathan may have felt, but I understood what Joni and it was coming from. That being said, how does that not apply to Rachel? Like, how was she just able to tweet whatever? And I get it. People may say, well, she's the social media man. Somebody, look, please stop. I know it hurts. The allegations that may be false, but this is not helping. This ain't helping, y'all. It's just too much money, too much, too much, too much money involved, too messy of a situation, you know, and too many people, too many lives at stakes that have been influenced. People say, oh man, we don't care about these folks. Oh, okay, well, so, you know, I mean, you'll answer to God for that, honestly, because if this whole thing was just a game to begin with, then man, that's a scary place to be. I wouldn't want to be in them shoes. I wouldn't want to be the person that fools the whole world. Like, what? That's crazy. You lied to everybody else about this God you loved and all that, and put your face everywhere. And I get it. The kids may feel like they was born into it, which is even worse because now you don't even understand the value of what you got, which is so sad. And I can relate to that because, I'm a PK, so I understand, the thought process to a degree of that or the psyche of that. But life teaches you real quick. God, above all else, teaches you the value and the humility. Just because you say you thankful don't mean you thankful. It's your actions that say something differently. How does this make the organization look? And people may say, oh, well, they said they didn't like it, but I'm going to still do it anyway. What is that? What the heck is that? Do you value this thing or don't you? Come on, man. Let's wrap it up. Let's wrap up keeping up with the Kardashian. I mean, the lambs. Keeping up with the lamb. Let's wrap it up and continue in civil spaces where this needs to happen. Because this is not a good look for anybody. For anybody. But God looking at all of it too, and that's one thing. One thing I know about God, He always got a ram in the bush. He always got that ram in the bush. He see what's going on, and but he also understand. I'm 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 peeping it. I'm watching it. Folks may think things are going, and because that's how folks felt back in the day when certain preachers was falling and stuff like that. They felt, the trust was just gone. So, but God even raised some of them back up. But He got that ram. So I'm ultimately believing for the best for everybody. Um, you know, the children especially. I pray that they are taken care of. But let's stop the back and forth, man, on social media. That's all I'm really trying to emphasize here. And yes, there have been times where I'm trying to make parallels to the Kardashians just for people to understand what this is. Like this is not funny per se. If I'm the man, if I was the PR person of that man, I would just tell them straight up. I would tell them right there. I said, look, I understand. This family, this y'all the head of the organization and all. Y'all pay me, but if y'all ain't gonna listen to me in this moment, y'all just need to go ahead and let me go, cause or I'm gonna just go ahead and resign because I can't deal with it. Like you talking about a ministry that's been around since the late '90s, probably late '80s, maybe even. That's now after a year of the founder being gone, going through another very major scandal, one that's looks like it's been premeditated for at least a year because a lot of the stuff that's coming to the forefront, the latest allegation took place in November of last year. Of course, not referring to the child there, but the you know, all that other stuff. But anyway, um, yeah, this will be the one and only broadcast I do on this. I don't even want to talk about this no more. I don't feel. Um, I love these people, man. I love what they do, especially. I don't wish ill will on any of them. The only thing I wish is that somebody would take that freaking phone away, or somebody just stop. Cause we don't need no more of this, man. We don't need no more. We got preachers out here calling these folks stupid. You one stupid. I'm looking at it like, man, help us. We talking like we in the back room. We talking like we in the green room. We talking like the cameras ain't rolling right now. Well, guess what? They rolling. Not just on the interview, but they rolling. Anytime you post a tweet as a public figure, them cameras rolling, man. People screen recording, screenshotting, knowing all types of crazy stuff. And they trying to win the war of public opinion. The war of public opinion is the least war or the least battle you should be concerned about. The biggest battle needs to be the battle of justice, the battle of righteousness before God. Um, those need to be the battles you're concerned about. But the court of public opinion is that one's already lost because people, the devil in the eyes of people doesn't want to see that ministry prosper anyway. So I mean, but it is what it is. But let's be a little bit more civil about this whole situation, especially. I mean, man, I can't even imagine what that family gathering gonna be like once the reconciliation happens. It's gonna. I mean, man, like Lord have mercy. That's boy. Whatever beach y'all choose, make it a good one. I tell you, boy, it's too much going on. But hey, these are just my thoughts. I don't have any ill will or anything like that. People may feel some type of way about me even bringing it up, but I just cannot take any more videos. All this, it's just too much stuff going on, and that's all I'm genuinely saying. If there are false allegations, I think I think it's terrible for one, and they need to be addressed in the proper manner. But getting Twitter fingers, that ain't it. That ain't it. I don't want to hear about no more kid, none of that stuff. Cause the story developing every week. Every week is something new. And I'm like, bro, this cannot be real. Like, are we seriously doing this right now? Like in front of everybody, in front of the world. And then we just name dropping. Just dropping major names like it ain't people ain't gonna care. Yeah, man, such and such, he said this and such said that and such and such. And I'm like, man, what in the world? I would, man, I'll be so quick. I'd be like, bro, bleep my name out of everything. Don't say I told you nothing because that's not you causing confusion in my camp. Folks wondering, well, what you thinking, man? Pastor, you really say that? What's it? I thought it was about winning souls. What? Now, I gotta deal with that. All because you was wanting to know my views on. Like, come on, man. Like, please. And I understand people. They feel like, and this is what I'm trying to understand too. In my closing, that marriage specifically, the marriage issue. I think it was Jimmy Evans that asked a very key question in one of them audios. And I know people been on Evans, but I'm gonna give him his flowers here. The question that's like the elephant in the room question: if it was a sin for her to remarry, adultery, all that. If it was, hypothetically speaking, the sin that was committed, is it the unpardonable sin? Christians would emphatically say no. So if Christ doesn't condemn us, why are we having this huge fallout over this? What is it really about? I don't know. I don't know. And I'm not saying that that's what it is. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just being honest about my assessment, man, giving you my thoughts on it. Like, it's unfortunate that the last that one and that were people were talking about the one with the board meeting, the last board meeting. Man, that was hard to listen to. It was so hard. It brought so many emotions to me because I could sense the sincerity in both sides, man, on both sides there, and I could sense the longing for reconciliation even in that moment, in that and that one brother who was breaking it down, the brother out of Montgomery, man, I think he was pretty much emphasizing what the supporters of the ministry wanted to be emphasized within the recordings. The way he was breaking some things down, and even the way he was saying them, I'm like, yeah, that's you know And that's the cry there. That's the heart. That's the heart cry there of the people. But hey, man, these are just my thoughts again. I'm almost at the 50-minute mark, man. So I'm gonna wrap up because I just it's just a shame. It's a shame what's going on and what's taking place in the public spectrum, especially when it doesn't need to. I mean, hey, we appreciate the transparency, I guess, but there's a such thing as being too transparent. You know, back in the day, them testimony services, they say a lot of churches don't even have them no more because people were abusing them. You got whole clips on social media right now, folks that went viral for being a little too transparent in their testimony services. Talking about how they, was delivered from, you know, sexual activities and very explicitly talking about what was going on. Folks say, "Well, it shouldn't be no censorship, man. Just stop. Certain things you don't need to be. I shouldn't have to explain to my kid before his or her time, about the birds and the bees. If I want to take my child to church and for him to hear the Lord and the message and all that, it should be about that. Jesus say I shouldn't have to be concerned about what my kid's gonna hear in the church. All because you want to get your in-depth testimony out with your transit because you felt bad. You felt bad about what you did. That's all. So now you're a little too transparent. It's enough's enough. Okay. But hey, I love you. I'm praying for you. I'm praying specifically for Daystar, Jonathan, Susie, the kids, Joni, Rachel, husband, and um, Rebecca, and her husband. I wish you all nothing but, and Doug, Mr. Wise, I wish you all nothing but love, peace, and prosperity as well. But let, let's let's bring it back a little bit. Let's go ahead and pull it back. You know, we got to do a whole nother submittal leave to kind of silence some things around here. I'm for it. I'm for it because we can't have another episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I mean the Lambs because it's just too much. It's just too much. All right. Love y'all. Be praying for this ministry, okay? People that are listening, that are supporters, please pray for these people. Don't criticize them, throw stones and nothing like that. They've done a lot of good, and I am I'm for them. I really am. I just hate that all of this is happening in the public spectrum, especially in such a vivid light. I've said that time and time again on this, so my heart is genuine about it. But yeah, y'all be praying for them. And don't be using this as no fuel, talking about why you don't go to church and all. Some of you ain't even in church no way. So don't even use this as fuel for that. All right. You on your way somewhere you shouldn't be going because you want to go. And that's just what it is. All right. Now we love you and we don't want you to go there. So that's why we pleading and we doing what we can to love and be a point of contact to you. But don't be sitting here talking about what these folk got going on. And I know some of you can't help yourself. That's why I'm petitioning to these folks to wrap it up. But I'm just gonna keep it real with you. You already you knew what this was to a degree, some of you, and you consistently making that choice. So don't use these good people here to get off on what you got going on. Okay. All right. God bless you. And remember, these are just my thoughts. So if you hurt, hey, take it to God. Either way, I'm not losing sleep over it. God bless you.